everybody. Good morning. Oh, you could see the sunlight. How nice, how nice, how nice. Welcome. Here we are again. Welcome, replay watchers. Welcome, Cricks. Good to see everybody. Just making sure. I have my secondary device over there to make sure everything's working, and it seems like my audio is working. Hi. We'll make it through the rest of the year. My name is Christine of Love Evolve Energy, also Aligned Light, also Sugar Shop Confections. Oh my goodness, there's so much going on. Yeah, I got something going on with my wrist. And what I'm doing in this series here is sharing with you some meditation inspiration and experience. I'm on day 38. We're on day 38. Holy guacamole chips of 180. Oh, no, 108. Although it will probably continue for 180. 108 days of an hour plus of meditation daily plus co-creative flow, and however that shows up, heavy on the meditation. And so I think what I mentioned above is what I'm talking about is the self. Buckle up, kids. Here we go. Really interesting times, isn't it, though? So if that has any interest for you at all, oh, let me do a banner here so you know who I am. Let's find, there we are. There we are. So you know what's going on. I usually do this and then I come back in about 60 seconds and I talk about some things. All right, so see you in a minute. Hey, I'm back. I'm grooving. Do I have all the right banners up? I do. Can you hear me okay? Hi, back again. You're watching me on Love Evolve Energy, book that is face, or tube that is you, or in intuitive lifestyles, counseling, consulting. I really have to get clear about what that is. Ashley and Christine's new site. And so I feel really grateful for them to have welcomed me into their worlds. And so if you're seeing me there, say hi. Hi, how's it going? How are you? So, as I do every couple of days, and now is day 38. In some ways, it seems like it ought to have been more, but ought to have been a lot less. So that's where we are. We're a little bit more. We're just about a third into it, a little bit more than a third into what this practice is. And I often come up here and talk about what my experience is and other insights I've gleaned from all of this. So, what I was reflecting on today, what I was reflecting on today is what I posted. So, you might see that in the written feed above or below, depending on where you might be watching this. On this lovely day of November 15th, 2021, welcome squares, welcome waxing moon heading into a lunar eclipse. What? Holy guacamole chips. I just recorded a new, pardon me, a podcast. So, really talking about how to energetically be with these things since it's been so flippin' present for me. All right, so let's really talk about this self and this selfing thing. It occurs to me it occurs to me that as I unpack my experience here, ooh, oh, great, you can hear me. I have to knock that down. Say hi if you're in the feed. It occurs to me that the last 38 days, probably before that, for as long as I've been talking about meditation, or if you've been to any of my meditation retreats online, thank you. Thank you for attending. It's been great. I haven't done a live one in a while. We'll see how that goes in the new year. I have plans. Although because of the way the energies are, they may not be set in stone until January or February. Although I would love to just rush out of the gate and do that concentration practice book club. I'll grab the book later. So where was I? I started talking about a lot of things and concepts, assuming that my audience has a base knowledge of what I'm talking about. And it occurs to me that that may or may not be true, depending, uh, depending on how much practice you have and in what traditions you're coming from and what is making sense to you. So the who's its and the what's its. Which comes first, chicken or the egg? I know what I am in truth. I know who I am in truth. I know how I serve. In truth, I'm free. I'm free. I am free. This is a blessing and um, an ablution that I received from Paul Selig. So medium, uh, my one of my dearest, who I adore. So let's look at this selfing, the who's it process. Maybe not in depth, but a way to enter into it. And what I've mentioned last week, the last couple of times I've been up here talking about these things with meditation and my whole practice for the next 108. Practice along with me if you like. And perhaps I've been speaking about it in some of my other lives or, well, I don't know. There are a couple of main projects that when people come to me, want my offerings, and people I serve, people I offer to, their queries are in two major categories, I would say. And one category is the evolution, purification, clarification, strengthening, opening and flowing of the self, the selfing. And that's what I want to point at today. Not in contrast, but along with that is this other path, this other stream of taking this self, perhaps the self sits between these two, of taking the self and melting it, dismantling it, letting it go, finding more expansive and deeper, more specific, and the yin and yang, deeper, more specific, wider, more expansive iterations and expressions of small s self and big S self. And then even those selves drop, and there's more and more in expansion. What we've been told, and if you've had some experience or a lot of experience and have been on multiple retreats, as have I, this becomes a reality. The self, the threshold of self as a concept, as a truth, becomes broader and broader and looser until it falls apart. And you may or may not notice this. If you're in the throes of some large experience like a stream entry, beginning stages, pranaton, dark night of the soul, kundalini awakening, all these kinds of things, some awakenings that have some rockiness to them, The self, your sense of a consistent known sense of self may rock, and a lot of us with experience will go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." Yeah, in the early days, it's one of the first things that you understand probably as a teenager. And then much later on, there's you're not consistently you. On that very base level, the self evolves and changes, and deeper conditioned patterns of the self evolve and change too. As you spend more and more time on the cushion within certain schools and techniques of practice that are geared toward you realizing the true nature of selfing, you really begin to see how there's a kind of emptiness to it, that it's propped up. And let me unpack this a bit because that can get a little bit out there. Many teachers say, including myself, you are not your thoughts, your beliefs, your mind stuff. You are not the images, songs in your head, memories of you are not you in this now moment. Thoughts, images, mind stuff, it's not you. There's an aspect of awareness that bears witness to the arising of these ideas and thoughts and clings to them and attaches onto them as a person who has been cast off of a ship in a storm. We're kind of quoting Ortega right now, misquoting Ortega, and has clung onto the the flotsam and jetsam of all these pieces that people have told you in your early childhood before you can even remember that this is who you am. These memories are you, and so you cling to those things. Similarly, with the body we inhabit, these are aspects, everything that your sense gates take in. Sense gates are your tools to navigate the world, to create a selfing structure that at its core has a spacious emptiness. There's a construction around it. As you pay attention, and we begin to get into a more complex idea in Buddhist philosophy called dependent origination, which I won't unpack here. I can barely speak about it myself, but it is a lived experience for me. These things are true as a construct, as a tool with which to function. They can, whether we believe this or not, and again, this is a belief that I could drop at any moment because a belief is a belief is a belief. A belief is a construct just as much as an identity. We craft, and eventually we learn we have choices about what we use in terms of beliefs and thoughts and actions and livelihoods and connections to craft and describe who we are. And then we step into that construction as if it's us, and we claim it as us. We claim it as a self. And then we forget. Pretty early on, we forget that this is a construction. And perhaps we never knew. We were way too early to have this young and swimming in the sea of stimulating sensations of mind and body and all the sense gates to begin to cultivate and to understand a self I believe it's at 2 years or 3 years old that the child, you'd have to look at early childhood development. I'm not an aficionado at that, but it's pretty early on, this I remember, that the child begins to understand that she is a self. And there begins the forgetting of this interconnectedness or emptiness or nothingness or complete fullness. Complete emptiness, complete fullness are the same thing, same coin, different sides of the same coin. And we begin to contract and identify with those things. Eventually, we change things. We become more aware of our deep unconscious patterns and we make other choices because we are then able to shift out of automatic, go on manual, make other choices. We're still cultivating a self. We work on our ethics, we work on our heart, we have awakenings, and how we're still a we here. We're still an I. Y- my view shifts. There's an I, me, mine, my in there. Shifts. It exists. It exists. So within that who's it process is never ending, is always true. And it, for most householders, is the greatest percentage of time space activation, time space reality you spend in describing a self, dismantling a self. Now, I'm saying this because not in the thrusts of a big spiritual awakening at the moment. I've done them most of my life, and I'm in a pretty even keel flow right now. Although I listen to my podcast, Life of Pisces. Yes, I finally did it. To really hear and listen to all these other things happening, which I feel, and and there is an awareness here that is not touched by, although is capable of influencing and touching the self. At the beginning stages or the early stages, after big awakening experiences, tumultuous or not, we begin to really settle into this identity of witness consciousness. I am witness. I am a quantumous witness. I am peaceful awareness. Peaceful awareness is arising, and automatically I attach an identity to it, which at a later date will have to be dismantled, dissolved, and let go of as well. The endlessness, the dissolution of selfing never ends. It never ends. There's a strange experience of when I've been in these periods, and because I'm starting a mini retreat this week that I'm attending, this experience will probably arise a little bit more often where I'm spending more time in this other thread, not the creating of the selfhood and stickiness of I am witness. I am witness is just as sticky as I'm a dancer, I'm a light worker, I'm a trash collector, I'm an accountant. It's just as sticky. Outside of the stickiness, there's the other path. So I would say a smaller percentage of those who come to me for offerings, "Hey, Rachel, how's it going, lady?" have already stepped into that stream, have already stepped into the indescribable rush of isness. There's an isness on this side as I'm creating language as a self. I can report back to you that there is an isness in that experience. What I have learned is that the more time I have spent in opening into, because really the only task, the only way to do that other path is to surrender continually. I have seen that it influences the selfing in that this ethic and this skill of equanimity is easier to come by because, in a way, there's a flavor of that in this non dual, open, pure awareness, isness. There's a little bit of that flavor that affects, it affects the Christining process. And what you will notice as you move more and more into the dissolution of all being, and yet there is isness, as you move deeper and deeper and repeatedly into those experiences, you'll notice the strange thing happen that there will be times in your mundane life where you can bear witness to these different aspects coming together to create this puzzle piece of identity that becomes a kind of persona that you can walk into, that you can inhabit and function in life through that. We are always doing this. We're either awake to this process or not. If we're awake to this process, we have some choices. If we are asleep to this process, it's a slog and a grind, and choices are hard to come by. Which is why I tend to lean heavily on this other this other path of practice. What I teach when I do uh, these meditation retreats is primarily in the first path that I talked about, cultivating a kind, ethically based, pure, energetically clear, healthy on all levels, in tune, in touch, open selfhood. That's all of that is selfing. The other stuff is more esoteric, and you really have to want that. I don't know why everybody doesn't, but somehow they don't because it seems too hard, or how could that possibly be true? What's amazing is that the retreat that I'm attending this week is a body-based retreat, and two of my teachers are teachers in it. I think there's 8 or 9 teachers participating over the course of a 7 days, or yeah, 7 days. Um, they are really skilled at talking about this other path that I'm talking about. It's something that's been awake and true for me, probably unconsciously and with no articulation, since I was a teenager, accidentally. Intentionally, since I was in my 40s, I would say. Since it started in my 40s, it started up again in my 40s, and I made another stab at really untying the knot of existence as a beingness with great success, and it continues. There's weaving in and out. There's weaving in and out, in and between spaces. And so I know some of this is very lofty talk. And what the fuck is she talking about? Perhaps. Perhaps. The way it's been taught to me and the way it's often talked about is through poetry and metaphor. It's something that through all the techniques and practices you stumble upon, techniques and practices for cultivation and releasing and clarifying that you stumble upon, and then you go to a teacher and they reflect back to you what they perceive may be going on for you. And it's that kind of Socratic back and forth dialogue that allows that flavor of awakening to really become more salient as a person. Hey, Sandy, how's it going, lady? I hope you're doing well. That it's rather than something that can be uh, learned that and practiced, it's something that all things learned must be unlearned. And it's something to unpractice and unlearn and surrender into greater and greater and deeper and broader with a really good guide who can recognize what your truth is in that experience and not mistake it for something else along the path. And so, selfing. From selfhood, there will always arise some kind of dukkha. Dukkha meaning not satisfactory in some way. Some dissatisfaction or stress or suffering at its greatest, or just some kind of annoyance or discomfort. That's dukkha. Not self, no concurrent, no consistent manifestation of selfing. Uh, and the fluidity, flexibility, movement, changeableness of all things. So those are the three marks of existence. When those become a lived experience for you, you're moving in what I was calling the second vein. As the selfing arises, one solidifies the flow that I was talking about. This is unchangeable. One also, in that unchangeableness, solidifying, I am thising, this is how I am, this is who I am, solidifying that identity. Innate in that is discomfort. There is stress in that. Not because of doubt, but perhaps, but because that will not always be true. I know I'm talking in poetry and metaphor. This may necessarily be things that language has a really hard time accessing accurately. This is something that must be lived or experienced. But this is how we come down to teachers saying to us, take up the koan. Keep asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Alan Watts made this famous. So I believe it's a Zen practice where you turn your awareness inward and you continually ask, who am I? Again and again and again. And you will get different answers continually. Or another way to do it is to keep bearing witness to the arisings and then bear witness to bearing witness and then open into an awareness of bearing witness and then be aware of awareness and turtles all the way down until there's dissolution and there's nothing there. That's what they're pointing at. Is it really uncomfortable for someone who's sleeping and heavily in the suffering and selfing and inflexibility to hear you're not your thoughts, you're not your belief systems, you're not your breath, you're not your body, you're not your past, you're not even your dreams, desires, and hopes for the future. None of that. Of course, that concept for a solid sense of self is going to fuck your shit up. It's stressful. So take the other path. Just, hang back. Bus comes through, said, I'm waiting for the next one. And eventually, the really real reality bus will show up for you. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I've been chatting a whole bunch. Look out for the new podcast, Life of Pisces. Pisces, pi, the sign of math, pi, 3.14, seas, sees, seas, or seas, the ocean. It's all of those things. So that's the new podcast coming up. I've recorded my first one. Where's it going to be posted? I don't know. We'll find out. Um, the bookings are still available. I realize that I need to add something to the people who book with me. What I've noticed is some people have a regular schedule of, here we're talking about the first part, a regular schedule. Hi, Sandy. I'm so glad to hear that. Congratulations. Hope you're more settled. A regular schedule of energetic cleaning. You clean your energy, you ground, you do stuff. Some people who come to me do not. And so, what I will say is that I've really whittled down my sessions. And so, I just have the big kahuna and small kahuna sessions available until further notice. Probably sometime in the new year that may shift. So, what I do need to put up there on that booking page is a link to a video or the video itself of a guided energy clearing, a quick one, a 15-minute one, freebie for yourself. If you want something more full on, my link for my Podia is up there. Go to my energetic spa. That is 3 or 4 different energetic flushes for your entire system. That'll keep you going for weeks and months. And variations on that because you bought it, then you can choose it and do whatever you want with it after that. So before you book with me, please get some stuff together. If you're a total effing mess, that's okay. Buy the energetic spa, go listen to some of my vids, and then book. And then book. It will make any session you have with me that much more effective. If I have to spend the majority of the time grounding you, clearing up the muck, and figuring out what's happening with your chakra system, the really good stuff isn't going to happen. The really good stuff, the foundational stuff is going to, I won't be able to spend as much time on the truly transformative energy work that can happen. So that's my 2 cents there. That's what I'm offering. All right, everybody, have beautiful days. All my links are above. Buy me a coffee. I'd love it. I don't know. What's the limit? 25 cents. Can I get a coffee? Probably at the drugstore. 25 cents. And, really, truth be told, I'm just drinking chai these days. So, get me a chai. All right, you guys, this is day 38. These are my insights and reflections. I really appreciate everybody showing up. Thank you, Crix. Thank you, Crix, so much. Makes all the difference that your sparkle love is there for me. So appreciate that. Okay, people, I will catch you on the flip. Enjoy your day. Stay peaceful, stay happy. Oh, what I wanted to mention here, I'm going to play this. I don't know how long that is. I'm trying to beef up my YouTube channel because this is, uh, I'm streamcasting, I'm live streaming to multiple platforms. My YouTube channel, I love that I'm using that. Some fluidity and fluctuation there. I'm looking for more subscribers so that I could do live streams from the beach. Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? That's my goal there and my backyard. So do that. Buy me a coffee because it will go to a coffee for me, but it will probably go to a fund where I can buy a new sound mixer so I can do real ecstatic dance events online. That's what I'm saving for, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can do really cool stuff on site, and I don't have to be locked into this space here. Freedom. So those links are above and below. Thank you, everybody on ILC, and I'll catch you guys on the flip. I'll do the ad first, and then I'll do 30 seconds. See ya. 60 seconds. See ya. All right. I'll see you guys soon, and I'll definitely see you Friday. Love.